broadcaster, David Benz. David, what's up, bud?
Hey, fellas, great to be on. Oh, look at that. Look at that. You guys got the Tickscape logo up. I love it. That's amazing.
You're a sexy man. You're a sexy man,
great
man.
working all the photos. Loving it.
You're a sexy man, man. I don't know. I don't know who your wife is, and she probably knows you're a sexy man. You got some good looks over there, and you make some interesting faces when you're on the broadcast. So we love that about you, man. You're a great person.
Well, I appreciate it, man. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, the Olympics were a while ago. That was 2016.
I remember you telling us that. Yep.
Yeah, but the pickleball keeps coming, man. I'm doing, and it's amazing to me. You know, you probably didn't have me on the show to talk pickleball. I could hear people reaching for the phone swiping away right now. But the pickleball just keeps getting bigger, man. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Dave? What do you think the attraction to pickleball is? Like, why did it blow up like gangbusters? Like, there's courts going up, and I'm in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, and there's courts going up everywhere.
It's twofold. One, that it's anybody can play. Right. And most people, once you check your ego, because a lot of people, they're resistant to play it because they're like, oh, it doesn't look athletic. Look how lame those people are. It's a terrible name, whatever. I'm not going to play that. But once you get past that and you get out and you actually try it, it is a lot of fun. And it's a great equalizer. Like you can play, two 80-year-olds could play against two 20-year-olds and it can be competitive if the 80-year-olds are good and skilled and know what they're doing. Like, it's not just about athleticism. So, so entire families of multiple generations can play, and I've seen it. And it doesn't take up a ton of space. You can get basically 4 pickleball courts on one tennis court, so it's a better use of space. And then as far as like the sport overall, I mean, obviously, thank God, COVID is finally feeling like it's a ways back in the rearview mirror now. But there's no doubt COVID was probably the best thing that ever happened to pickleball because people were looking for things to do and they needed to get out. And so, the equipment sales just exploded. And that was really, put lighter fluid on the flame that was burning already.
Speaking of lighter fluid, the Timberwolves had some new attractions to the organization over the past year, and one of them is a new owner. Alex Rodriguez is now co-owners of the Timberwolves, and the Wolves now have a guy that's never played professional basketball, was a professional baseball player, and has a unique personality. What were your thoughts with Alex Rodriguez being now one of the co-owners of the Timberwolves?
Well, I mean, that's obviously been in the works for a while. He and his partner, Mark Laurie, they bought a minority interest on him. I mean, what was it, back in maybe 2020? And so there was a transition plan in place all along. What really made news was that the owner, Glenn Taylor, and again, I didn't dive into all the fine points of the deal, but it's from what I knew, A-Rod and Mark Laurie, they missed a payment that they were supposed to make. And so the Timberwolves owner, like, oh yeah, by the way, from the time that he agreed to sell it to Laurie and Alex, the valuation of the franchise, I think it went up like 180%. I don't know if it quite doubled, but it went up pretty darn near double. And also in that time, the franchise went from being garbage to being, a legitimate contender. So the second they missed that payment, Glenn Taylor was like, you guys have defaulted. I'm going to keep the majority ownership. So it had to go to arbitration. But, A-Rod and Mark Laurie, they now are officially, in the majority ownership control. And, I think it's probably long-term a good thing for the city of Minnesota, because they have at least publicly expressed a commitment to keeping it there. The question in my mind that it really affects that franchise is, can they get a new arena? Because guys, like Target Center, I'm not 100% sure if it is the oldest NBA arena, but if it's not the oldest, I can't really think of any older off the top of my head. Like it is, and the problem is, how like Camden Yards kind of started the new trend with all the great baseball stadiums, right? Camden Yards is still amazing today, but anything that was like built the year or two before that, it's not really any good. And the Timberwolves, they built Target Center like in 1990, and then all the arenas started getting good in like 1993. And so it's like it's a really old, 35-year-old arena, and they need a new arena badly, especially considering if anybody's been to the Twin Cities, like you go to a Minnesota Wild game over in St. Paul, and you go to Xcel Energy Center, like that place is a palace, and it's amazing, and it's a pleasure to go there. Target Center, it's like the parking is terrible, the arena is terrible. Like they really need an upgrade. So the question is, can they get that kind of money, and can they get a commitment from the city to be able to build something new? And that's going to be, I think, one of the biggest challenges in the immediate future for A-Rod and Mark Lowry going forward.
So Anthony Edwards, very outspoken during the playoffs. Obviously had a very good series against the Golden State Warriors, but was complaining he only took 13 shots and said a bunch of other things throughout the playoffs. We had Tim Roy, the Warriors play-by-play broadcaster. He said even as an opposing broadcaster, he didn't have a problem with it. What were your thoughts to Anthony Edwards, both on and off the courts?
I think that, listen, I feel like there's times that I watch Anthony Edwards and I feel like he is, he does things that look like Jordan, right? But he's still lacking that total killer instinct for 48 minutes. And he also, I don't love the complaining, man. I mean, I get it. You're looking at that. I mean, that's just ridiculous that he can get up and do those kind of things without even batting an eye. But, if you're really going to be a leader, man, I mean, you got to be able to keep that in check, and you can't be getting teased all the time. And you can say what you want to the media afterwards. That's fine. I got no problem with him being outspoken, but I feel like you gotta figure out a way to keep it in check on the floor, man. And let your play do the talking, which he does a lot of the time, but he doesn't do it 100% of the time. And if you're really going to be in that stratosphere of great players, it's got to be 100% of the time, man. It's not just about whether you can get up and dunk. It's about whether or not you can carry your team. And, I think, listen, he's still, what is he? He's 23.
He's a baby. He's a baby.
He hasn't even come close to reaching the zenith yet. So.
But you said it best. The guy doesn't shut his mouth. He was on that Netflix gold medal, run, and he said it right in front of the former president of the United States. And he asked Joel Embiid, what do you think about Anthony Edwards? And he says, he's all right. And then you hear Anthony Edwards come up, I'm the truth. And then that's what he said. He called himself the truth. And then all of a sudden, when people were asking him, quote unquote, are you the face of United States basketball? He couldn't answer that. He says, I don't want to be considered the face of United States basketball. When you're trying to be the next, or you're comparing yourself to Michael Jordan-esque, you can't go out there and say, hey, I don't want to be the face of United States basketball. It makes him look really, really bad.
And until you've done something. The only thing I will say is I would love to see, wouldn't we all? I would love to see what the daily, grind of Michael Jordan's career in his early 20s would have looked like, with social media and everybody having a camera on their phones at all times, and it is a different animal in that regard. And, but I suspect Jordan would have kept it together. And that's and I'm not saying the wheels have completely come off with Edwards. I feel like he just needs to, he still has some maturation process to go through to get to that level. And I do think he's capable of doing it. But he is still young, but it's got to start to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that. And you obviously see him more. We see him from afar. You kind of get an in-depth and up close and personal aspect of who he is. And he said, couldn't answer being the face. You seeing him and his mannerisms, we see it, from afar. Do you think he has that in him to be one, not necessarily the face, but one of the faces moving forward, being his age and the athletic ability that, like you said, he does it he probably do it in his sleep, honestly.
Yeah, I think he does, but, again, it's all about, and I guess he's got good people in his corner, right? Because I know he's got a good relationship with LeBron, and, love or hate LeBron, there's no question LeBron has figured out how to navigate those waters, right? Sure, his name comes up in controversial stuff every now and again and whatever. But for the most part, he's pretty much, been on the right path. And I know that, Anthony Edwards has a good relationship with LeBron. So I think that's a good thing and, kind of take some pages out of that book. And I do think he is getting better. And to answer your question, I do think it's there and I think it will happen. But, the thing is, I don't know how many people know this about Edwards, his upbringing, but like he definitely, he is freakishly athletic, but he's worked his butt off, man. When he was in high school, like he went to a prep school that was like 2.5 hours from his house in Atlanta. And he had to leave his house every morning at like 4:35 in the morning to get to school in time to go get shots up before class. And I mean, that's a level of dedication when you're talking about being, 15, 16 years old. So if he's got that level of dedication, I'm sure he can apply that to doing this. But, he also, you come into the league and you're young and a lot of things are thrown at you. And, a friend of mine, Chris Hine, who does a great job covering the Timberwolves for the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, he just put out a book. In fact, I you know what? Give me 1 second to go off camera here because I'm going to give Chris a plug because he deserves it.
We know Chris.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Chris, I don't know if you guys have had him on yet, but he just put out his book, and you can get it you get it on Amazon. And I literally just got it like 2 days ago, so I have not read it yet, which I'm dying to read it. But I have heard from some of my friends who have read it that there's a great story in it about when Anthony Edwards, Gerson Rosas, who of course now is with the Knicks, which by the way, that was the whole Coldplay thing. I don't know if you guys have talked about that, but Gerson went through that himself back when he was in Minnesota. But there's a story in the Amp book that when Gerson first called Anthony Edwards, when they had the number 1 pick, and he called Anthony Edwards to tell him that, they were going to probably take him with the number 1 pick. Like the call was set up and Anthony Edwards answered the call from his bed with no shirt on. And, and Gerson told him, he's like, have you lost your mind? Like, we're thinking about taking you as the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft. And like, you don't even have the courtesy to like get out of your bed and put a shirt on. But then again, he got picked anyway. Yeah. So I mean, it's like, what's the lesson learned there?
And that's the problem right now. To me, Anthony Edwards, and by the way, we are talking to Emmy-Award winning sports broadcaster Dave Benz, Timberwolves broadcaster, also San Francisco Giants, the 49ers recently founded ticket company, Tickscape. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. Anthony Edwards is a unique personality. We all know what he is and the talent that he brings to the basketball court. The problem with Anthony Edwards really stands for what he does off the court, how he responds to certain things in the media after the basketball games. And he throws his teammates under the bus. He's not a team leader. It's been proven that he doesn't know how to lead a team. Karl Anthony Towns, now I don't know what his relationship with Karl Anthony Towns when he was there. I don't know Karl Anthony Towns. He was traded to the Knicks. He was upset that the Timberwolves traded him to the Knicks, and they thought, obviously, he thought at the time they didn't really get anything. And then he started to take shots at the players that they traded for. And then everything started to turn around in the second half of the season, and he zippered his lip. And look what he did in the playoffs. And he's thrown coaches under the bus. The problem with Anthony Edwards is controlling his lips. That has been his problem. And when you have players like that, like Kyrie Irving, who doesn't shut his damn mouth, and he opens up his mouth in bad situations, as his flat ass and his flat brain has said the earth is flat. The problem is when you have talented players of that magnitude and you go out there and throw your team under the bus, it makes you look stupid. Now, Dave, we've seen this many, many times with different players, and we talk about Michael Jordan, how special Michael Jordan is. When you look at guys like Anthony Edwards, and you're trying to compare him to guys like Michael Jordan, could you really compare him to Michael Jordan? Michael Jordan was an assassin. When he went on the court, he wanted to completely cut your head off. This guy goes on the court. If he misses a shot, he sits there on the sidelines whining and whimpering to the coach. Get me back out there, coach. I only got 10 shots in the whole game or in the fourth quarter. To me, that's a problem when you don't know how to control yourself.
The other thing is Jordan would have went and got shots, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, go get yourself some shots, man. Like get yourself open. And there's a difference between getting shots and being a ball hog, but like make yourself available, man. Beat your defender to the point where they got to give you the ball, But again, I think it will happen, man. I mean, we're talking about a guy with a ton of talent, and I don't know that there's three other guys in the league that I would trade him for right now. I really don't. The list is short. But again, that the shine could start to come off if he doesn't take that next step this year. And that's going to be, what everybody's going to be watching. And if I was in his camp, the one thing I would tell him to do is, man, and maybe he has already, but I'd be like, dude, you need a full-time publicist that's around you at all times. Like, you don't send out, you're off social media. You're not sending out any tweets. Like, you're not doing any of it. Like, you're not doing anything yourself. Publicist is handling all of it.
He's Kevin Durant. His favorite player growing up is Kevin Durant. He's exactly Kevin Durant until he gets over the hump. Kevin Durant couldn't do it himself. He had Russell Westbrook. He had James Harden. He had Serge Ibaka. Could never win. And now you have Anthony Edwards. He had Karl Anthony Towns. He had Rudy Gobert. He's had all these guys and still can't get over the hump, and he's making excuses, just like Kevin Durant, his favorite player. That, to me, is a problem. Speaking of teams that you obviously broadcast for, the 49ers. And I had to get into this and transition into this because there's something about their coach that I don't like. And Kyle Shanahan, who everybody thinks is one of the masterminds of the offense in the NFL, has never won anything. He's been to 2 Super Bowls and has fallen flat on his ass. He was an offensive coordinator, and then he fall flat on his ass in the fourth quarter when he played the Patriots because he stopped running the ball. What is it about this guy, and what is the love fest for 49er fans? And do you think if they don't make the playoffs this year and make a run, is he going to get fired?
Well, I think that if they don't make the playoffs this year, he should get fired. I would say that. I mean, it's a what have you done for me lately business. And I know they were in the Super Bowl the year before last, but that doesn't really get you very much at the end of the day. I mean, look what the Nuggets did with Mike Malone, right? I mean, it's like nobody saw that coming. So, and I think some of the shine has come off a little bit with Kyle. Most 49er fans that I talk to are kind of, they feel like Kyle's a good coach. I don't know that anybody feels like he's a great coach. I do think that he, has a really diverse way of, being able to run an offense. And when you've got the right players, it can really be accentuated. When you've got a healthy Christian McCaffrey, and you can be able to do a lot of things. And then last year, you don't have a healthy Christian McCaffrey, and all of a sudden you look very pedestrian and you're struggling. I mean, they had a lot of injuries last year, but it wasn't just McCaffrey. But at the end of the day, yeah, there's no question, man. It's I think this is a must-do year for him to be sticking around. And what is the average tenure of an NFL coach nowadays?
Dave, he's overrated. We have guys that have this love fest for him on this show. Coach Fish over there, love fest. Owen, love fest. And I don't think the guy's won anything. To me, he is, a bona fide assistant coach. That's what he is. He hasn't won anything, and until he wins something, and by the way, when was the last time the San Francisco 49ers won something? For all those 49er fans listening to this show right now, let's hear it. When was the last time? I don't even think you were alive.
You know what?
I don't even think you were alive.
Their biggest win in the last decade was probably that NFC Championship win over the Lions, a game they had no business winning, right, to get to the Super Bowl. And that was like a miracle that they came back to win that game. We'll see, man.
Kyle Shanahan paid off the NFL. That's what happened.
I'll say this, Errol. Here's my gut, though. My gut is last year at this time, I was telling everybody, because everybody last year at this time was like, oh, the preseason power rankings, the 49ers were like, top 3, top 2 on a lot of the power rankings. And I was telling everybody, I was like, Yeah, I got a bad feeling, man. Like, everybody's too high on this team. Like, they were really healthy the Super Bowl year. Like, I just feel like they, and that's obviously a big part of it, right? Like any team in the NFL, you're only as good as your injured reserve. If you could keep your injured reserve from getting too long, you got a shot. And and last year it played out terribly for the Niners. This year I have the opposite feeling. This year I feel like everybody's down on them. Like, they'll probably have a pretty good year. But a good year here. I mean, the bigger question in my mind is, does making the playoffs and losing in the first round keep Kyle Shanahan a job? That's a bigger question, right? Like, I mean, if they have a losing record and they're out of the playoffs for a second straight year, I don't think there's any question he's gone. But if they win, say they go 10-7 and they lose a first round playoff game, that depending who's available, then that might be enough to make a change.
Well, they invited Bambi. They invited Bambi back, and if you don't know who that is, that's Robert Saleh, as we gave him the nickname.
And they traded for Jets
a
Bryce Huff.
A deer in the headlights. That's why we call him Bambi, because he absolutely doesn't know what
as a head coach, as a defensive coordinator, I think he was pretty good. So,
but he keeps receipts.
You're not high on him, but he people out here think highly of him, so we'll see.
So another guy that the 49ers fans are very split on, and just football fans are very split on, is Brock Purdy as well. He gets a big contract this offseason. Everyone calls him a system quarterback. Cam Newton loves hating on him, saying he's like a 16th ranked quarterback in the NFL. What are your thoughts to what he has been?
I mean, listen, if I was going to just based upon talent, and I know you were talking about the Madden rankings earlier. I mean, what I'd be curious to know, what is Brock Purdy's Madden ranking amongst quarterbacks? It's probably like 22nd out of starters, right? And I think that's probably a fair reflection of where you would take him based upon talent. But prior to last year, without the injuries, when he had healthy players around him, he did. He was more than a game manager, man. He made plays, and he made plays with his legs. I mean, listen, he's not Josh Allen. He's obviously not Lamar Jackson, but he can get out and run, and he can beat you, and he makes the smart play. I mean, even when he got in, when he got in that rookie year, I can remember they played a big game against Seattle, and he scrambled for a first down and could have gotten more, but he went down so the clock would expire. And, it's like he's got good game awareness. So is he a $50 million quarterback? I mean, come on. Like, but at the end of the day, if, you got a guy that helped you win, you got to pay him. And plus you got, if you prorate that out for the fact that you were paying him, $800,000 for the first couple of years, maybe it doesn't sting as bad. But, we'll see if he has healthy weapons. I think he could be good. He's not going to be great. He's not going to be an all pro, but, I think he's fine back there. But, I'm not a Brock Purdy hater. I'm not a Brock Purdy, huge fan. I'm not leading the bandwagon. I think he's fine. I think he'll do a nice job. I don't think he's going to, lead the league in interceptions or take the highest number of sacks. But I also don't think he's not going to lead the league in touchdowns. And, but the bottom line is, can he be clutch? And he's proven to be clutch in his career when it's mattered. And if he can continue that, then, what more do you want?
It's funny. I get in an argument with my buddy all the time because he's like, "I hate him. I want to trade him." I was like, "Well, he still wins, so you got to take that for what it's worth."
The same person that wanted Daniel Jones over him.
Yeah, true. But you see it all the time in multiple sports, and like, what do you think? Like, from the dynamic of a team, what do you think separates the good teams from the great teams? Is it individual players? Is it them coming as a team? Is it the clubhouse, or is it a virtue of like all things combined?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you could go back to Casey Stengel, right? I
Look
mean,
at him
everybody
huff and
in
puff.
the history of sports has been like trying to find out what the secret sauce is, right? I mean, it's some years you win because you got a Michael Jordan and he pulls everybody along. Some years you win because you're the Detroit Pistons and you guys just coalesce the right way. I don't think that there's one tried and true pattern. And it's just kind of a living, breathing thing that comes to life. And are you lucky with injuries? Do you have the right schedule? Do you get the right hit at the right time? Do you make the right catch at the right time? I mean, it's just so many things that come into it. And the margin nowadays in every league, especially the NFL, is so razor thin, man. I mean, it's so razor thin. I mean, if we could go through the 32 teams right now and probably pick 5 teams that we know for sure are not going to make the playoffs and pick another 5 that we know for sure will make the playoffs and probably get 1 or 2 of them wrong on both sides. Like, that's just how razor thin the margins are. And, you just don't know what is going to happen. So I think you just got to ride the wave, man. I wish I had a better answer to that. But I think, again, everybody's been trying to find that answer for the history of time across every sport.
We are talking to Emmy-Award winning sports broadcaster Dave Benz. He's been on our show before. He works with the 49ers, the San Francisco Giants, everybody. He works for everybody, okay? He's the pickleball winner. He's the pickleball announcer. And speaking of pickleballs, and you were speaking of one Brock Purdy, who I actually like, and I think he's a lot better than a lot of people think he is going to be this year. I don't know if he's an all-pro guy, but I think he could be a top 10 quarterback in the league. I don't understand why anybody thinks he doesn't have the talent to be that. And especially Kyle Shanahan, as Kyle Shanahan is the offensive goddess. But I want to get off football, and I want to talk about the San Francisco Giants. And the Giants, they've been up and down all season long. The trade deadline's right around the corner. Do you think somebody named Buster Posey has something up his sleeve? And if you think he does, who do you think it is?
Man, prior to doing the Devers trade, Buster really hadn't done anything. Buster hadn't made any deals. So, I mean, does he have anything else up his sleeve? I mean, what are they sitting right now? I had to pull up the standings because, to be honest with you, they started off great, right? They started off
like 7
so
in a row,
incredibly red hot. Yeah. And then when they brought in Devers, everybody was like, "Oh, this is the ticket." Now they've lost 6 in a row, and they're a game under 500. And, I guess they're benefiting in some respects from the fact that the Dodgers were hurt much of the year and didn't really take off. Although now now the Giants are 9.5 back. Listen, if I'm Buster Posey, I'm looking at a 500 team right now. I'm probably not going to make it. I'm probably not going to give up anything really to try. I mean, what are you going to do? I mein, you're going to try and get in and sneak in as a wild card, maybe, with this team. They've got some decent pitching, and I think that they're probably better than a 500 team. They'll probably finish with 85 wins. Is that enough to get you a wild card? 85, 88, maybe if things go well. But I don't think they're a championship contender, and Buster knows what it's like to win championships. So I think you really kind of got to just cool the jets a little bit. You already made your big deal in getting Devers, and you try maybe you catch lightning in a bottle with the guys you got. Maybe you get somebody off the waiver wire later, but I wouldn't really make any huge moves.
So in terms of the Dodgers, so we're talking about the deferred money throughout the year with Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, and a lot of people think it's ruining baseball. As a Giants guy, a rival with the Dodgers, what are your thoughts of that?
I mean, it's easy to hate the Dodgers when you're sitting in orange and black, right? But at the same time, you got to tip your cap to them, man. I mean, they're playing within the rules that are set up in baseball. And Rob Manfred, I know over All-Star Weekend, he talked about, that they have to find a way to be able to level the playing field a little bit. But, the rules are what they are right now. And if you've got the money to spend, and the Dodgers haven't only done it by bringing in free agents. I mean, obviously, they've brought in some pretty damn impressive ones. But, it's a credit to them with what they've done and being able to just kind of keep the machine going and being able to, to tread the injury. And that lineup is just ridiculous, man. And Errol, I heard you before, before I came on talking about the Yankees and, being down on them. And it's like, I mean, that's just, think about the Dodgers almost made the Yankees look silly last October.
Yes.
And it's like, and the Yankees were a really good ball club, man, but it's like the Dodgers are just so much better. It's like everybody else is a AAA team. So, I mean, as a fan of baseball, I hate it because I feel like, you're giving all the good players to one team, but it's a spectacle to watch, man. I mean, occasionally I'll put on a Dodger game and you look at that lineup of who's coming up. It's like boom, boom, boom. Ohtani and Betts and Freeman, and it's just like where's the weak spot,
Yeah, there's not much.
The weak
Ohtani,
spot is in Joba's beard. The lube
no,
in his beard.
There's no patches. There's no patches.
It's the lube in his beard, ladies and gentlemen. As he said on the show in the beginning of the show, there it is. Why does he have to kiss me? I don't get this.
That doesn't even look like me.
And why is my head looks like my head's off the body? I mean, I like the hair. I don't have a receded hairline either. What the hell is that all about? And it looks
I don't know what that's all about. And I didn't see you at a Coldplay show, but maybe you guys stayed off camera.
What an idiot that guy was.
Yeah, boy, oh boy.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I got a lot of thoughts on that, but everybody shared a lot of thoughts on that, so I think it's time to move on. Let's turn the page.
All right. All right. Tickscapes. Tell us a little bit about your company.
Okay, so 2 years ago, I came up with this idea, and I've been working on it like ridiculously, and it's taken a long time, but we just officially put it into the market last week, and it's Tickscape, Tixscape. You can get it on Android, iOS app, or on the web. By the way, if you're on Android, wait 24 hours before you download it, unless you have a phone that's within the last 2 years. Because I found out the hard way that any Android phones that are more than 2 years old are having some issues, and it will be straightened out in the next 24 hours. But you can go ahead and use the web. But if you're on iOS, you're good to go. And basically, if you want to go to a Yankee game, you can go on Tickscape and see all the tickets for the Yankee game, all the providers. I mean, we partnered with everybody. So Ticketmaster, StubHub, SeatGeek, Vivid Seats, Ticket Network, Ticket Liquidator. We got 13 retailers that we partnered with. So you'll see the tickets from every retailer, and then you can, on the app, click the price button, and it will actually open up a window where you could go through, and every single retailer, you can access their stuff without having to open a bunch of tabs and have to bounce around. All the tickets are bought on the official retailer's website or platform. So you're not giving us money. We're not taking any data. You can use this completely anonymously, completely free. You're going to save time. You're going to save money. But the other thing, the one feature that we have added in addition to kind of putting this all together, which it's so think of it like Google Flights or Travelocity, right? But for tickets. And we've got everything. We've got sports, concerts, theater. You want to go to a beer festival in your small town, we probably have that. We got, a million events on there. But the thing that we added that I really think is the thing that people are going to like the most is we've added a price alert. So some retailers will give you you might get an app notification hey, tickets prices are dropping, whatever, for an event that you looked at. We'll actually let you set a price point. So say that, say you wanted to go see Coldplay and they're playing at, Giant Stadium, and you're I'm not going to pay $800. I'd go, but I'm not going to pay $800. Well, you could be you could set the price alert and say, okay, I'd be willing to pay $400, and you put it in. And if a ticket hits, and the secondary market's like the stock market, man, it's going all over the place. So if a ticket hits $400, you'll get a notification right away with a link to buy it, so you can get the ticket at the price that you want. So, that's something that's not out there right now.
Well, we need to talk off air because, hey, we need to promote you. Maybe you'll be a sponsor of our show. We're doing great things right now on Blue Wire. So let's talk off air. I think we can really work together. How about that?
Well, and we've got swag that is on order. It hasn't arrived yet. So I'll hook you guys up with some swag, and you guys can rock that on a future show. And let's make something happen.
Oh, we will.
I'm in.
I
got my buddy's bar on right now.
Dave,
there you go. And please, guys, check it out. Hit me up, man. Let me know what you think. If we're kind of right now in the beta phase, right? Because I did put it out on my social, but we haven't really launched a real marketing campaign yet because we're still trying to find out where the ghosts are in the machine. But it is ready. It is ready to. It does work. Go out. Use it. Let me know what you think. Check it out. If there's something you like, you don't like, let me know, man. But I'm really excited about this, and it's been and I'll tell you off air the story of how I came up with the idea. I'm not ready to put that one out yet, but it's there's a hell of a story with how I came up with the idea.
Well, hopefully you weren't at Joba's house or looking at checking out the lube that he was putting on his chinny chin chin. But we love you, Mr. Dave, and you do such a great job, and you're one of the best. We really appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, guys, I appreciate it, man. Anytime, and enjoy the rest of the Yankees run, man. I'm hoping they're going to do a little bit better than you're feeling.
Whatever you're
they
smoking,
just blew it.
Whatever
he just gave up a 2-run homer in the ninth.
There you go. There you go. So whatever anybody or whatever Yankee fan is smoking, keep smoking it because they're not going anywhere. Anyways.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Well, that's why they play the games. That's what somebody.
Dave, we love you. Keep up the good work, and I'll talk to you off air. We definitely should talk about that.
Sounds good. All right, man. Hit me up.
Dave Benz, ladies and gentlemen, fantastic. As always, great personalities and the voice of pickleball, as we always said.